Feeling overwhelmed by mealtime? Does the thought of chopping onions make you want to cry? I know the feeling. I used to be on the struggle bus when it came to chopping onions, but then I learned a few tricks that made it so much easier. In this video, I'll share those tips with you. Together, we'll learn how to chop onions like a pro without all the tears. By the end, you'll be feeling more confident and ready to tackle any recipe. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Andrea and welcome to the Grit and Grace Mom channel, where our focus is helping busy moms save time and money and be more confident in the kitchen. Today we're talking about chopping onions. It's a pretty foundational skill. Onions are in a lot of recipes and with good reason because they're pretty delicious. They add a lot of flavor, but it can be a little tricky to master at first. And I know I did this wrong for years. I had onions that were too chunky. I would oftentimes end up with tears streaming down my face. I even tried swim goggles one time and it kind of helped, but not really. But then I came across this technique for chopping onions that I'm gonna be sharing with you today, and it made it so much easier. The first thing we need to understand is the difference between the root end, which I'm currently pointing to, and the stem end. The reason this is important is because we want to keep the root end together. I'll explain why in a moment. All right, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut the onion in half vertically. This is important. This is something I actually did wrong for a long time. I used to always cut my onions in half horizontally, but when you cut an onion horizontally, you can't keep the root end together. Okay, now I cut the stem end off, and I'm going to be making small cuts as close to the root as possible without severing it. So I learned this in a video from Gordon Ramsay, which I'll link in the description below, but the reason you want to keep the root end together is because otherwise the onion will bleed. That means it releases the gases that make you cry. All right, I didn't quite get the sequencing right on these vertical cuts. I was interrupted, #momlife, who can relate, but I didn't cut my fingers off, so I guess I did okay. All right, so I did my vertical cuts. Now I am just making very small cuts. I turned around, I'm holding it like a tennis ball, keep my fingers out of the way, and I'm just making small little chops, and I'm getting finely diced onion. And this is onion that you can use in your soups, in your stews, in your tacos. It's very versatile. Look at how finely diced it is. You know, before I learned this technique, I used to wind up with chunky onions, but now we've got some nice finely diced onions. So there you have it. I hope that these tips on how to chop an onion are helpful to you. And maybe next time when you see a recipe that calls for a cup of diced onions, you're not like, oh no, but instead you're like, I got this. Let me know down in the comments below if you do try it. I'd love to hear how it goes, as well as let me know what other tutorials you want to see. If you enjoyed this video, if it was helpful to you in any way, please consider subscribing for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.